Okay, I have to talk quickly because I don't know how long this thing's gonna stay up. It might fall while I'm talking.
I'm going to die.
Yeah, what's good, y'all? I just wanted to quickly just like make this video just to say something like I be thinking about stuff. You know, it was this morning when I was at the gym, right? And like it was also like encouraged by like a video on like Instagram or whatever I had seen before. It's really got me thinking about how like advice is kind of like I won't want to say it's stupid, but like I don't think people should be taking advice because like this is what gets me confused a lot. So many like different types of advice I've heard, you know, it's just like they're all so contradictory. Like advice is it only works for the person who's saying it type shit. This is like a perfect example. It's like you might hear some people say something like, "Oh, make sure to take breaks, make sure to take care of yourself." And like, but you also might hear people say, "Oh, fuck breaks. You rest when you're at the top. You work hard and you rest when you're at the top." And it's like both of those are honestly valid because the people who are successful, there are some people who took breaks. There's some people who didn't take breaks and they went all the way to the top. You hear people say things like, "Oh, sometimes you just have to know when to quit. Sometimes you have to know when to stop, when to give up, when to throw the towel in." But then you also hear people say shit like, "Oh, never quit, never give up." You know what I'm saying? Like never back down, never what, shit like that. Like keep going, yada yada yada. And sometimes another example, you hear people say things like, "Oh, make sure you take time to think about this, think deeply about this, make sure you like think thoroughly before you do something." But then also you hear people say shit like, "Oh, don't overthink it, just do it." So there's like so many things, so many different types of advice. Excuse me. It's just like so much like advice that like people give that's like it's all contradictory. I'm gonna tell you like this to be happening to me. It's like you just have these things in your head and it's just like, oh. Then you get into a situation where you're like, "Oh, I'm feeling kind of tired. I think I need to take a break." But then like then you also remember the advice that you heard from so and so talking about some, "Oh, you can't be taking breaks. You just gotta keep going, keep pushing, keep pushing. Then you can take a break later." And it's just like it gets you all like, for the love of God. And so you just kind of come to the conclusion of it's just like I don't think advice is like will work, at least not for everyone. Let me say that. Like I feel like for most people, you should just like fuck advice, bro. You just go through it and you figure it out yourself. Like another thing, it's just like the people who came up with that advice, right? The people who are telling you that advice, "Oh, you should do this, oh, you should do that." Like also think like did they get advice that made them do that, or did they go through it by themselves and that's what they came to the conclusion of? If it's like they went through it by themselves and they came to that conclusion, then it's like, oh shit, I should do the same thing. Why take advice when I can just do the same thing, figure out what works for me? You know what I'm saying? Because majority of the time, the person who tells you the advice, like they're just telling you what worked for them. Just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. I would argue that like most of the time it's not gonna work for you. What works for them won't work for you. Like most of the time. So like you're just better off just trying to figure it out yourself. Like just forget all that confusion, forget all that oh, should I do this? Oh, should I do this? Wait, because they said I should do this. But like, I don't know. I feel like I should do this. But which one's the right way? You just do whatever like feels right to you, whatever fucking you think, you know? And like with that being said, technically speaking, me telling you, "Oh, you shouldn't take advice," is this technically advice? I know it's contradictory. I was already thinking about this before I even started recording. I was like, am I technically giving them advice by saying like, "Oh, don't take my advice and don't do advice"? It's like that's kind of contradictory, but I know life is crazy though. So you don't even have to listen to me. Why would you take advice from me? I'm just a random dude on fucking YouTube, like no haircut. You know what I'm saying? Like like I said in the beginning of the video, I said like something that inspired me to make this was a video I saw on Instagram.
Man, you a bitch.
But it's like, oh, so you're over here taking advice from something on Instagram. Technically speaking, life is crazy. I know things contradict each other like all the time. I'm just telling you, what I think. Try not to think too deeply about it. That's advice again. I know things. I'm not saying you have to be listening to me though. I'm not saying like, oh, if you think taking advice works for you, then take advice, But I just wanted to say like what I think. I'm like, in my case, I feel like I need to like stop taking advice. Most advice that is given is like it won't really even work for you, because like the person that gave you the advice and you guys are not the same person, like, you know, so that may work for them but probably won't work for you. So like, yeah, that's pretty much it. All that just to basically just saying, Bram, all that basically just to say, like, if you feel like when like me, and it's like, bro, like I have so much advice, you know, that, you know, things I've heard from the internet, things I've heard from people in real life, and it's just like some people tell me to do this, some people tell me to do that. I don't know what's the right way. You ask me, there is no right way. You make your own. You make your own way, bro. You make your own fucking advice. Like, you give advice to yourself what you think you should do, whatever works for you. If you think that the way you should work is like, I'm gonna take some breaks and then I'm gonna get back to what I'm doing, you do that. But if you think that like, oh, I think that I have more in me, I can just push hard and then, you know, take a break later or something, then you do that. So I say basically just, this shit might sound corny, but basically just follow your heart. Whatever your heart says you should do, go ahead and do that, you know? Yeah, that's pretty much it though, y'all. Hope you enjoyed the video. So if you're new or want to review, see that's what you want to do, stop taking advice. Peace out, love y'all, later.